Fascinating question. Not something that's addressed in the movies a lot. For anybody who hasn't watched the video that this is a response to, the question, after meandering a bit anyway, the question was, could Jews be vampires? But it dealt with larger issues like, in movies and popular American culture, if the mythology in a movie involving vampires is somewhat religious, then holy symbols, but it's basically always a cross, is used as an effective weapon or a deterrent to vampires. Maybe it burns them or use holy water or whatever. Sometimes that they get rid of that, the religious connotation. The Blade series does that. Nothing religious about that. The Underworld series, no religious symbols, nothing like that. So it really depends on the mythology that the fiction writers are creating. But to be technical, let's assume in the there are many coming from a conservative used loosely, and reform Jewish background myself. We never kept strict kosher, never did. So there would be nothing preventing me or my family or anybody else in the conservative or reform sects of Judaism from eating something that's not kosher or, sucking blood from a human. But I would think that any Jew who was turned into a vampire would have a serious crisis of faith and might turn not religious. Or not care much after. I don't think something so life-changing as undeath would make you consider wouldn't make you reconsider your religious position. But Orthodox or Hasidic, or there's a couple other sects of more strict, more fundamentalist Jews who do actually keep strict kosher. No, humans are not kosher. I mean, pigs and shellfish are probably the two most common types of food that the layman knows that aren't kosher. But there's actually strict rules for what is kosher and what's not. As far as meat goes, where humans would fall, not fish, but meat, the animal has to have cloven hooves and chew its own cud. So like cows, cool, deer, kosher. Think moose, kosher, cloven hoof, chewing cud. Pigs have cloven hooves, but they don't chew their own cud. That's why they're not kosher. There are other animals, say like our close relatives, monkeys, that do neither, that do not have cloven hooves and do not chew cud. They are not kosher, and we humans are not kosher for the same reason that monkeys and other apes are not. So, sucking blood from a human, not kosher. There's also rules about not, if you're going to eat part of an animal, you have to, as humanely as possible, slit the throat. There's that whole ritual killing thing. You can't, like in some African tribes, they do this, puncture a vein of a water buffalo, and drain blood, put it in a bowl, and then stop the bleeding. Bison's fine. A little lightheaded maybe, but fine. And then consume the blood that way. Excellent source of protein, especially if you're in the middle of a drought or something. You got to do what you have to do to survive, right? That practice would not be kosher. In, keeping kashrut, you have to humanely, or as humanely as possible, kill the animal and then eat all of it. You can't say, cut off a leg and just eat the leg and let the animal continue living. That would be, wrong. So, even if people were kosher, even if we did have cloven hooves and chewed our own cud, we wouldn't be able to just suck the blood of the victim and then let it go. You'd have to kill the victim in its entirety. And, some vampires do and some vampires don't. But yeah, that's an interesting question. Not many people actually think about that. People are not kosher. End of story. What else? What else? But it brought up a larger issue about how in American culture it's just assumed that everyone's Christian, and that, of course, vampires are anti-Christian, so Christian symbols are poisonous to them. I think it's a simple case about appealing to the majority. That, when you're making a movie for the majority, you don't have to worry about including other religions, right? You don't have to worry about, including Islamic symbols, or even the Star of David, which more people would recognize, I think, in the U.S. I've never seen a movie where the Star of David is used to turn or injure a vampire. It would be something interesting to see, but I think actually now in modern day movies, people are getting away from the whole religious thing when dealing with vampire mythology. They go with a more biological, treating them almost like a zombie infestation or something, that the cause for vampirism is actually natural and not, supernatural or religious. Yeah, but, being a fan of horror movies myself, I keep track of stuff like that. I've been ranting on for too long. Too long!